Special guest Tim joining for a new movie review. We're going to talk about Escape Room Tournament of Champions.
Hi, everybody.
Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It, and like I said, we've got a special guest today. Tim, hello.
Hi.
It's been a while since we've had a guest on a new movie review, years probably. But you and I do escape rooms together.
Yeah.
It's all very exciting. So you saw this actually before I did, opening weekend.
We saw it opening weekend. Yeah.
And I just saw it this past week, but I thought, you know what? Let's actually have a special guest for this review. So Tim, why don't you tell us all about Escape Room Tournament of the Champions?
Okay. So, in this movie, we see the survivors of the first movie travel to New York in hopes to find proof that they can take down the Minos Company, which is behind the deadly escape rooms. However, they find themselves in a new series of rooms with a handful of other previous survivors, thus the title Tournament of Champions.
Yes, and you and I both kind of liked that first one.
Yeah, I think I would have given it a B, skewed a little bit, but just because I do enjoy escape rooms so much. I probably would have given it a B- if I wasn't a big escape room fan.
Yeah, I believe I gave it a B as well. That was in a year that I wasn't really reviewing things for the channel, but I did write down all my grades. I looked back, and it was a B.
Yeah, I thought the escape room set pieces were amazing, and then I also thought the character development for all the characters was done very well for the limited information that you got from some of the people.
Yeah, and it was an interesting twist on a horror movie because it was a little bit of Saw, I guess, with the traps or whatever, but made more modern. I mean, escape rooms are very hot these days. All right, so for this second one, let's see. Should we talk about positives or negatives first? I'll let you decide because I have some of both.
Okay.
All right, well, let's talk about, I guess, the negatives, maybe.
Okay.
Because a lot of the things I think we liked about the first one, at least for me, is present here.
Yeah.
So some of the positives I think will be probably the same. But in terms of negatives, well, you mentioned the character development in that first movie.
Yeah.
Other than the people we already knew from the first movie, I didn't feel like we got much character development at all for the new people, and I didn't really care about them for the most part.
I thought two of them were not really developed that much at all, but I thought two of them were decent enough, and I thought one of them was done really well.
One of them was done very well, but that creates sort of an issue because you're like, okay, well, that's the person that's going to survive the longest because we know the most about them. One of the people, let's see, India Moore, who plays Brianna Collier, I really did not like their acting at all. They were mumbling through everything, and I just was sort of detached from that. I had a hard time understanding what they were saying some of the time.
Yeah, I thought they were one of the weaker characters.
Yeah, unfortunately. But look, if you saw the first one, I guess we sort of have to spoil the first one, though, to talk about some of the people in the second one, I feel like. Well, let's just say there's a couple of survivors from the first one that are here.
Yes.
In this one. So we can talk about that. One of my other negatives, I guess, along with sort of the characters, is it seems a little bit bizarre that they would all sort of meet in this same spot. Like, a lot of things had to happen for that to occur, and I didn't get the sense that I wasn't really satisfied that they would really be all in that same place at the same time.
Yeah, I there's certain things that you have to put in
suspension of the disbelief category.
Yeah, suspension of disbelief category. But I thought, switching over to the positives, I thought the character development of the previous survivors was done really well, of furthering their character development, of how they're dealing with being a survivor and having nightmares and
I thought that was pretty interesting,
and memories of the people they didn't make it in the previous ones. I thought the escape rooms, once again, the different rooms were different from the first one, but also they were great set pieces as well.
Yeah, all right. So let's talk about that. I agree completely. I thought the first one we see is this one on the train. I thought that was really clever and creative.
Yeah.
The one with the tokens. And then as we moved on to some different ones, I was sort of placing you and I in those rooms and like, okay, well, if Tim and I were doing the escape room, what would we get out of this? Would we find this to be a good room? And I feel like for the most part, they were all good rooms.
They were all good rooms. I mean, once again, you have to kind of suspension of disbelief, because I mean, some rooms they have like 10 minutes to like figure out how to really get out of it before things start going sideways, and I'm like, well, I don't know if we would have gotten that far in 10 minutes.
Yeah, but we usually get 60 minutes to do like 10 different things.
Yes.
They get 10 minutes to do really like one or two.
Yeah.
So time-wise, I could maybe see it, although we don't die if we, don't get it, but they also don't really get any clues. We do sometimes need some clues from people. All right, what else on the positive side? How did you feel about, without going into spoiler territory, how did you feel about the ending of this movie sort of rearranging some of the things that we thought we knew? Because I didn't love it. I'm intrigued to see now where we go.
Yes, there's some twists and turns. Some of them you see coming, some of them you don't see coming. And some of them make sense and some of them don't make sense. So as far as that goes, I don't know. I'm kind of like on the fence.
Okay.
But obviously this is setting up for a third one. So I mean, I think this made enough money for them to kind of.
I would think so. It's almost impossible to tell in COVID. I think it's made about 30 million worldwide so far, which may be good. I mean, these movies are usually made for fairly cheap.
The first one had a budget of $9 million.
Okay.
So I don't know. Usually the kind of
they up it a little bit. So maybe 12 or 13 or something. All right. Now, how about the foreshadowing in the very first scene of the film? I'm not one who usually picks up on things like that, but it was so very obvious to me that was going to come up later. Now, I did forget about it for most of the movie, but then in that very last scene, I was like, oh yeah, I get this from the beginning. Did you feel that way?
I did feel that way.
Okay.
But I don't know if everybody would have gotten that.
I'm not usually that great at picking up on that, so I felt like they were going real over the top with it, so even like a casual person would be like, oh, all right, they're really like, they want us to pick up on that here. So I don't know, that was a little bit maybe of a disadvantage. But overall, I mean, I enjoyed watching this movie. Like, it does have some negatives, but for all the horror movies I've seen this year, like the Spiral movie and some of the other ones I've reviewed, I mean, this is obviously nowhere near like Quiet Place 2, but this is, I had more fun watching this than most.
Yeah, I mean, to call this a horror movie, I guess you have to consider it a horror movie, but it's not really like a movie that's supposed to kind of scare you. I would call it more of a thriller.
More of a thriller.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it gets a horror vibe just because it has a little bit of a Saw vibe, but like a PG-13 Saw.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there aren't really jump scares.
I enjoyed their one use of the F word, though. That was well placed.
So I think I would call it more of a thriller than a horror movie. But
I think the reason, though, it also has to kind of go in that horror category is, and I don't think this is too spoiler, because if you've ever seen a horror movie, you know this happens, but like, people die off.
Yes.
And in a thriller, like when I think thriller, I think of like, I don't know, like The Others with Nicole Kidman or something like that, where it's more story-based, I guess, and less sort of, I don't know, fear-based and murder-based. Yeah. So I think the horror moniker applies here.
It's just not scary, and I don't think it's supposed to be scary. I think it's just supposed to be fun. And I think it does a good job of that.
I would agree with that. So overall, I think this one is slightly less good than the first one because of all of the negatives that we sort of talked about. But not by much. And like I said, maybe if I wasn't an escape room person, I would feel differently. But for me, this is a B minus.
Yep, I say it's a B minus for me as well. Maybe if you're not really into escape rooms, I could see you thinking maybe it was like a C plus. But it's fun, it's enjoyable.
Yeah.
And just the set pieces alone is really good for escape room junkies.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, that will do it. Tim, thank you for joining our first new movie review in a while.
Yeah, I think the last one we did was Mulan, but that was
that's true, yes, but that was over Zoom, of course.
Zoom. Yeah.
So I forgot we did that one. Yeah, good old Mulan. All right, well, thank you for watching, and we'll see everybody next time. Bye.